To say that Okonkwo was an institution and an enigma is unequivocal and less an overstatement. If you had had opportunity to had come in contact with Agunechemba, you must have learnt a lot in political ways, the teachings and meanings of being a good Samaritan.
Senator Okonkwo means different things to different people, but few things are indisputable. He was a great man, an Iroko. I call him an institution. I call him an enigma. I think he's one of the geniuses that you see once in a century.
A man who was imbued with legendary kindness, humility, and humanism, Okonkwo was a man filled with love for mankind. He always showed up in moments of pains, sorrow, and grief. To Annie Clement Okonkwo, helping others through giving and philanthropy were ways of good life, not for public commendation.
He was a very kind man, a very humble man, a very generous man, a man who believes that giving, helping others is a way of life and not necessarily for public commendation. I think he was a man who touched the lives of many people positively in so many ways. He was phenomenal.
Okakojoto Agunechemba Okonkwo was a multifaceted personality with diverse character, a mentor and molder of good minds. Okonkwo was also a great influencer, encourager, motivator, and mobilizer.
He was a man who, despite his riches and wealth and blessings, was humble, was reachable, was able to answer calls from people. In fact, one of the things I found unique about Okonkwo was that close to 60% of people who were calling him on the phone were people he don't really know, or he doesn't even have their phone contacts, but he was always ready to answer their calls and assist them.
Whether in business, politics, or socio-cultural spheres, Senator Okonkwo stood tall like a colossus. Annie was a man who, like the proverbial ostrich, never gave up but rose from the ashes of every defeat and struggle. A man who had a knack for discovering talents and great opportunities. Where others saw dust, Okonkwo saw gold.
When it comes to ideas, when it comes to implementation, he doesn't fear to take risk. He was a man who was ready to confront any situation head-on. Where people fear to tread, and he will jump on and eventually succeed.
A man who dreamt big, operated, executed, and lived big. Okonkwo Agunechemba was mercurial, eclectic, and smart. His taste and panache, grandiose, and groundbreaking. Never a man of half measures. Okonkwo single-handedly gave voice to the voiceless Nigerians when he founded Railtel, CDMA telephony complex, at a time in Nigeria's national history when having a telephone line was akin to taking an excursion to the hot sun.
Don't forget, he was one of the pathfinders of our modern communication when it was hardly a very, very great venture for people to go into. he founded a telephone company called Reliance Telecommunication, Ratel, and was one of the very few people to give voice to millions of Nigerians who were voiceless. I say voiceless because they had no access to telephone in those days. It was his company that crashed the phone services and made it affordable and accessible to Nigeria, millions of Nigerians. So you can also see that in pattern of his investments and businesses. A lot of times he ventured into areas that people fear to tread or move into.
Agunechemba Ani Okonkwo once had the golden opportunity to represent the people of Anambra Central Senatorial District at the 6th National Assembly in 2007 as a senator of the Federal Republic. Ani Okonkwo in that status really showed capacity and commitment. He was indeed a distinguished senator whose political clout changed the narrative of senatorial representation in the zone for good, setting unimaginable standards. For instance, Senator Ani Okonkwo initiated the widely acclaimed Anambra Central Senatorial District Town Hall meetings, a forum through which legislative accountability and updates were conveyed to the constituents at quarterly interactive sessions.
Agunechemba did something unique when he became a senator in Anambra Central Senatorial District. He introduced a town hall meeting, which was a quarterly meeting or interactive session between the senator and the constituents, for the constituents to be briefed of what was happening in the National Assembly. So it was usually a high-wired mobilization of the constituents. People were mobilized, and they were usually gathered in one chosen venue in Oka. And there was interaction between them and the senators quarterly, and they were able to get the feedback from their senator, and they were able to tell the senator, this is what we want. This was novel. Nobody has done that, or even if they have done, they have not taken it to that level that Ani did.
Senator Ani Okonkwo's ability to galvanize and mobilize constituents, especially the royal fathers, spiritual leaders, community leaders, students, market women, labor, artisans, and youth during these epochal sessions set him apart among his peers in the National Assembly. The National Essential Commodity Commission Bill was sponsored by Senator Ani Okonkwo on the floor of the Senate. The NECC bill sought to codify all essential commodities needed by average Nigerians in a bid to ensure constant intervention through subsidization and availability at every material time.
I can tell you that if this bill had been passed, Nigerians will not be passing through the pains and hardship they are going through today, because this bill essentially tried to see a codification, that is bringing together all the essential commodities which are necessary for existence of the common man, basic commodities, essential commodities, whether it is kerosene, whether it is cooking gas, whether it is roofing sheet, whether it is even drugs like diabetic drugs, hypertensive drugs that are not within the reach of the poor man or average Nigerian. So the bill seeks to bring them into one room so that the government will make availability and subsidization of these items so that everybody, no matter how poor you are, you will have access to them.
Senator Okonkwo no doubt made robust impact in various Senate committees during his sojourn at the National Assembly when he was a member of top-ranking committees.
As a senior legislative to Senator Ani Okonkwo in the Senate, of course, America call it Chief of Staff. Senator Okonkwo told me he wanted something revolutionary, something landmark, that he doesn't want garbage in, garbage out kind of bills or copy and paste type of bills that was prevalent sometimes in our institutions. And we went to work. That was how we initiated the Nigerian Diaspora Commission Bill. It was not an easy work because it took nearly 6 months to put it together. For instance, there was no precedent anywhere in the world in the course of putting together this bill. The closest we found out was in India, where they had what they called non-resident Indians, NRI, which was a window created by government of India for Indian in diaspora to remit funds to their country. So this bill, when it was concluded, was sponsored by Senator Okonkwo in 2008.
Okonkwo was decorated with the sobriquet, the People's Senator, by his deed. As a human institution, Senator Okonkwo spent his short but eventful life touching lives of many very positively. Senator Okonkwo's Agune Chamber Foundation lifted indigent students and the less privileged and saved them from the harsh grips of poverty. Today, a quantum out of this lot who benefited from the largesse of the foundation are medical doctors, lawyers, engineers, and genuine breadwinners of their respective homes and families. He did more for many more people in many other spheres of welfare and well-being. As a mortal, Annie was not without faults. Yes, because he was not God. One of the things that also marked him out was that he kept no malice, whether wronged or he wronged you. He easily forgave, ready to reconcile, to move on.
When sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, you have taught me to say.
Senator Anene Clement Okonkwo Agune Chamber Okakojoto loved life, lived every moment of life to the fullest. In Annie Okonkwo's demise, the human race lost a low-hanging fruit created and designed by Providence to bring succor, joy, and happiness to humanity, especially the less privileged, whom he always bore on his wings of hope and empathy.
Though trials should come, let
the question is, when cometh another? Good night, Ago. Adieu, great one.
Regarded my helpless estate and has shed his own blood.